Welcome to another episode of EduExcel. Uh, Today again, I bring to you Lala Lajpat Rai's views on physical education. So, Lala Lajpat Rai believed that true education includes physical fitness alongside mental and moral development. He emphasized the vital role of physical education in building a healthy, strong, and disciplined nation. Rai advocated for incorporating sports, yoga, and physical training in schools to nurture vigorous citizens ready to serve and protect their country. For him, physical education was not just about health but about strengthening the nation's spirit and character. In length, we will discuss the chapter from his book. Everyone agreed that the children of today are the citizens of tomorrow. It was the responsibility of the state and parents alike to see that they were of sound in body and mind. The Hindus had characterized it as a debt rin which had to be paid by every healthy individual before he or she died in order to ensure him or her a desirable form of reincarnation. Emphasizing the importance of good physique as the basis of national strength, Lajpat Rai considered defective persons as a drag on the race, involving a tragic waste of human powers, energies, and potentialities. For him, healthy, vigorous, potentially resourceful, and powerful children were its greatest national assets, its capital upon the wise and skillful investment of which depended the nation's prosperity. In matters of health and education, he asserted individual freedom was not worthy of recognition. As far as possible, no one could be permitted to be ignorant and diseased. It was the duty of the state to lay down the minimum health and mental equipment which it required from its citizens, and for that purpose it must make education and physical culture compulsory and lay down certain regulations for private and public health. He fully realized that the health of the school children was a matter of supreme importance for the future of the race. He viewed the fact that the Indian policymakers under the colonial rule were not sufficiently vigilant about providing for the health of school children and making it a compulsory item of education. Every Indian child had suffered in health, vitality, and energy by one sided education, which took no notice of the physical requirement of the body. He laid emphasis on the medical examination of each child, but perturbed to find that the progress till then made in this direction was quite insignificant. Endorsing the suggestions given in the Bulletin of the United States Bureau of Education, number 50 of 1917, on the subject of physical education in secondary school, Lajpat Rai extensively quotes from it. During the period of secondary education, health needs cannot be neglected without serious danger to the individual and to the race. The schools should therefore provide health instructions, inculcate healthy habits, organize an effective program of physical activities regarding health, need in planning work and play, and cooperating promoting health interests. Health is definitely related to the vigorous of the big muscles of the trunk and legs. Instruction should be given in exercises and games which will bring into play these large fundamental muscles and should be pushed far enough to stimulate circulation, respiration, and perspiration. Methods of study should be devised which will allow more freedom and bodily movement even in the academic work. This was followed by a definite program. Number one, a careful health examination including A. Medical inspection, B. Mental examination, C. Physical examination. 2. A healthy environment at home and in school, instruction in health problems. Number 3. Physical activity, under which equipment and physical requirement, amount and kind, minimum requirement, and kind of exercises formed an important part. In Lajpat Rai's model of education, the health of school children occupied an important place in which the parents, community, and the state were expected to take interest by making provisions of the health as well as moral and mental equipment of the school children. He deplored the criminal neglect of the question of health in India. While the students were motivated and encouraged to master the texts of Milton, Shakespeare, Shelley, Kalidas, and Firdaus, they knew little how to cultivate an erect posture, how to take care of their bodies, hands, legs, eyes, teeth, ears, organs, muscles, and nerves. They knew next to nothing about the hygiene of living, housing, food, and dress. Regrettably, he said even the curriculum of the study took no cognizance of these things. It was the duty of the state to find out the ways to secure improvement in the health and physique of school children. Emphasize the importance of the problem and to demonstrate how one of the advanced countries of the West was trying to solve it, he cited the above mentioned bulletin of the United States Bureau of Education, which considered healthcare as fundamental among the objectives of secondary education and wanted secondary schools to provide health instructions, inculcate healthy habits, and organize an effective program of physical activities followed by a definite health program consisting of a careful medical, mental, and physical examination. Besides, no less necessary was healthy environment in home and school, instructions in health problems, physical character building activities, and above all, the school credit. Lajpat Rai insisted on physical education for the health of the nation and making a child fit for the struggle for life. In his view, the two things which were of greatest importance to every human being were health and ability to earn decent livelihood. Talking from the health point of view, physical exercise was necessary to make the child feel secure in the matters of health, which were no less important for his personality development, which unfortunately had been the objects of criminal neglect in India. As to the adoption of means to protect the health of school children, no one seemed to think that the question was at all one of immediate importance. Quoting from Physical Education in Secondary Schools in America, number 15, in 1917, he subscribed to the view that during the period of secondary education, any neglect of the health need could not be without serious danger to the individual and to the race. Education for him was not only a process of sharpening the brain but also chastening the body, recognizing that the brain and the body were organically related. The organic relationship between the brain and the body was a psychological fact, and real education consisted in their balanced development. Where people were intellectually dwarfed, that country was backward, superstitious, traditional, obstinate, and on occasions foolhardy and irrational. So was the case where the persons were of poor health. The mass of limping, stooping, coughing, multitude lacking in vigor, alertness, and manhood undermined the very existence of the community. The health of an individual, and as such of a nation, was an important factor not to be left to an individual concern, but was a matter that concerned the whole community. The same was true about mental equipment. Every citizen, male or female, ought to possess the maximum amount of health and maximum of developed intelligence possible under the circumstances to enable it to hold its own among the people of the world. It was not the right of anybody to be ignorant and diseased. Health of the people was the strength of the country. Take a very broad view of physical education. Lajpat Rai noted health and hygiene started from prenatal life and were sometimes hereditary. The scheme of physical education ought to include the study of eugenics, home science, mothercraft, midwifery, and other ancillary subjects. Science and technology being most vital to one's birth and breed, so they ought to form a very essential part of education. Physical education was not merely a matter of bodily exercises and drills, but it was vitally concerned with the healthy and sanitary surroundings and the cultivation of hygienic habits. On matters of physical education, Lajpat Rai discussed in detail the report of the Commission on Reorganization of the Secondary Education in the United States and found many of its findings relevant to Indian education. A summary of the recommendations he found relevant for the Indian context is given below. The school buildings, its room and surroundings must conform to the best standard of hygiene and sanitation. Instruction should be given in exercises and games which will bring into play those parts of the body which stimulate circulation, respiration, and perspiration. Inculcations of health habits such as the question of teeth, sex, sleep, rest, ventilation, bath, etc., should be considered. There should be regular medical checkup of students' health by the expert. Educational institutions must have good gymnasiums, playgrounds, swimming pools, and other health facilities maintained under thoroughly hygienic conditions. Instruction should be given to the pupils in gymnastics, athletics, swimming, and other team games to keep the body virile, vigorous, alert, and well posed. The physical education he emphasized must aim to secure and conserve the health of the rising and growing generation. It must meet the concerns of the community's needs and prepare it to meet the challenge of the industrial age. A population had to be vocationally trained and skilled, having bodily endurance and stamina to realize their full potential. In their age of craze for science and wealth, he noted mental and physical tensions were on the increase. There was always a danger of nervous breakdown, heart failure, and cerebral hemorrhage. These common maladies were proving to be worse than infectious diseases. They were seen to affect organic health of people and manifest themselves into congenital and eugenic problems. The modern conditions of civilization were becoming breeding ground of stresses and strains. He, agreeing with the authors of the above mentioned report, found that the educational system that prevailed in India in his time contributed to such rotten state of things. Physical and manual toil and activities which were only countervailing factors against the diseases of civilization, so to speak, were tensioning the brain beyond the capacity of the container, that is, the body. It was imperative that body ought to match the fast rising horizon of the mind. How could mind be really sharp when the body was frail was a question that needed to be addressed. Answering it, he said, activation of the body was the real problem and only remedy for it was physical education. In reforming the regimen of the physical education, Lajpat Rai emphasized the negative necessity of pure brahmacharya as well as the positive duty of doing everything that was necessary to develop physical strength and fitness. It was desirable to have a healthy diet containing the minimum of pungent and acidic stuffs such as chilies and khatai. Drinking of wine, aerated water or tea or coffee, and smoking of tobacco had to be avoided as they were injurious to health. He wanted the students to shun such habits and tastes as it made them weak by depleting their vital heat. Postponing marriage to a little advanced age, he suggested, could help for the prolongation of manhood. Merely passing of an examination was not everything. If it was not accompanied by physical strength and fitness, burning midnight oil and taking of medicines that produced sleeplessness was a sort of slow poisoning. It took a heavy toll on national health. Such practice must end. Social relation and public perception were highly crucial to physical fitness and must be viewed as the primary qualification of a successful young man. Physical education, he cautioned, must not be turned into a program of militarizing or brutalizing the youth of the country. In fact, exercises were meant only to cultivate and develop honesty, courtesy, fair play, promptness, manliness, and morality among them. Physical activity involving particularly teen games offered great opportunity for moral development. Likewise, plays and games also induced feelings of teamwork and cooperative spirit. In the playground, distinction of castes and social position did not count, and only atmosphere of goodwill and cooperation prevailed. He well realized that education without physical nourishment was a sham. A practical educationist that he was, he knew that modicum of physical education imparted in the schools and colleges in India during those days were just playing with the poor health of their youth. The conditions obtaining in educational institutions in India were simply horrible. They were ill equipped, suffocating, overcrowded, having no gymnasium facilities, no playgrounds, and even no arrangement for the supply of pure drinking water. Most students who belong to the middle class or lower middle class, as well as those who belong to the backward class, Harijans, scheduled tribes, and other numerous economically and socially disadvantaged undeveloped classes were undernourished. They covered long distances in the sun and shower to attend their classes. Forcing such students to join the NCC or volunteer corps or athletic club or to play some sports and games after school or college hours was simply adding to their ordeal. Physical education and physical nourishment must go together. In any child centered scheme of physical education, he enjoined that there had to be a provision of general health of the child, including feeding in educational institutions. He felt convinced that national basis of the problem deserved prime attention. For this, no energy and force had to be left unspared to get this problem put in right focus in the national plan. The National Education Policy NEP 2020 of India aligns closely with RAI's vision by emphasizing holistic, multidisciplinary education, integrating physical, mental, and emotional well being. NEP 2020 promotes sports, physical activities, and yoga as essential for students, aiming to build healthier, more disciplined, and socially responsible citizens. The policy highlights the role of physical education in nurturing a fit and resilient youth, which is crucial for sustainable nation building. Together, Lala Lajpat Rai's views and NEP 2020 underscore that physical education is foundational for individual empowerment and national strength, fostering not only bodily health but also character, discipline, and patriotism necessary for the country's progress. Thus, physical education is a cornerstone for nation building as it cultivates not only physical fitness but also essential life skills like resilience, discipline, teamwork, and leadership. A healthy and physically active population contributes to higher productivity, reduced healthcare costs, and social harmony, forming the backbone of a strong and vibrant nation. Embedding physical education and sports into the education system nurtures well rounded citizens who are physically robust, mentally resilient, and socially responsible. These qualities empower individuals to contribute effectively to national development and uphold the spirit of unity and patriotism. Therefore, prioritizing physical education is vital for building a healthier, stronger, and more united India that can rise to the challenges of the future with confidence and vigor. This vision resonates with Lala Lajpat Rai's emphasis on physical strength as a foundation for national pride and the holistic educational goals of NEP 2020. Adolescents who participate in sports are 8 times more likely to be physically active at age 24, benefiting cardiovascular health, strength, and mental well being. Thank you for tuning in and spending your valuable time with us today. We hope this episode has inspired you to see the powerful role physical education plays in building a stronger, healthier nation. Remember, cultivating fitness and discipline in our youth is not just about individual well being, it's about shaping the future of our country. If you enjoyed this discussion, please subscribe and share with others who care about nation building and holistic education. Stay active, stay engaged, and we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, take care and keep striving for excellence. Thank you.